In a move to help solve the affordable housing crisis, one country has decided to ban all foreigners from buying property in the country for the next 2 years. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's coming out of Canada. Now, normally I don't talk about Canada. I'm an American real estate investor, but you know what? This was so interesting that I was like, hey, I've got to bring this up. I've got to make a video about it because, this is insane. So, obviously, housing prices in Canada, they're, outrageous. They are off the charts as compared to what the median income is in the country. So a lot of people in the country, they feel like, hey, there's foreigners coming in here, they're buying up all the properties and they're making it too unaffordable for the people who live here. But I have a different take, right? I have kind of kept my eyes open, and from what I've seen, the real issue is a lack of supply. And the reason there's a lack of supply, a lack of development in the country, is because all of the outrageous anti-landlord laws they have. Okay, I mean, you go to pretty much every major city in the entire country and they've got extremely strong eviction protections, rent control, anti-development mindset. And then they sit there and they wonder, well, why isn't anyone building here? Why doesn't anyone want to be a landlord? Well, that's why you have your affordable housing shortage. Okay, you're making it too difficult for developers to build and make money. Okay, nobody wants to build unless they can actually make money. Nobody wants to be a landlord unless they can make money. And in their country, they just decided that, oh, well, this is the right way to go. And they were wrong. Okay, they were dead wrong. And now they're looking for other scapegoats, and they're going to go after, oh, well, the landlords are just being greedy. They're going to say all the same stuff that you hear in places like New York. Oh, well, the landlords are warehousing empty units. And, oh, people are deciding just, foreigners are coming in and buying up all the housing. Or they'll say something ridiculous like, everybody, these landlords are just greedy. No, we are responding to the market that you created with the laws that you wrote. And this is the end result. Now, you're passing additional laws which are not going to be beneficial to anyone who lives up in Canada, okay? So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button. You can leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think, okay? What do you think of this country banning foreigners from buying real estate for the next 2 years? I mean, do you think that's insane? Now, obviously, I don't want to buy any real estate up in Canada, right? There's too much regulation. There's, just the prices are too high. But I do know of real estate investors who would go up there and want to invest, and now they won't be able to. Not only that, but there's people who aren't real estate investors who might just want to go up there, buy a second home, or, might want to go up there and move there, and they won't be able to buy homes either. So, you're punishing a lot of people who have nothing to do with real estate in some cases. Okay, so this is insane. I'm going to get into this article because it has more details about the whole topic. So this article is coming from DeseretNews.com, and it says, thinking of fleeing to Canada? It doesn't want you. Starting in 2023, Canada is banning most non-residents from buying homes for 2 years. Yeah, that's insane, okay? I can't believe that this is actually passing, but anyway, let's get into the article and see what it says. I'm moving to Canada is a common refrain often heard whenever Americans find themselves frustrated with U.S. politics. But keep in mind, Canada is dealing with its own housing affordability crisis. And as the New York Times reported Thursday, it's making it a lot harder for non-Canadians to buy property there. As of January 1st, Canada is enacting a 2-year ban on the purchase of residential property by most non-residents. The Prohibition on the Purchase of Residential Property by Non-Canadians Act was quietly introduced last spring after Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's Liberal Party of Canada blamed Canada's housing crisis on outside investors, the Times reported. Yeah, they're going to blame outside investors, right? And from what I've heard, there were a lot of people who, live in Asia, just as an example, right? who wanted to, basically, have dual citizenship or dual residency. So they were buying homes both in their home country, be it China or whatever, right? And then also in Canada, right? And I personally don't see anything wrong with that, except for the fact that they aren't building enough housing for the people who live in Canada on top of that. So, yeah, they really need to work on the supply issue and take away those things that are barriers to developers wanting to build more housing, in my opinion. Now, this is, I mean, it's an interesting thing that they passed this quietly. A lot of people didn't hear about it. I certainly haven't heard about it until just right when I read this article. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think that you could be somebody like who just wants a vacation home and you can't get it. The desirability of Canadian homes is attracting profiteers, wealthy corporations, and foreign investors. This is leading to a real problem of underused and vacant housing, rampant speculation, and skyrocketing prices, the party's platform states. Homes are for people, not investors. The move was in response to widespread political sentiment in Canada, but it sounded absurd, said Jackie Chan, the Vancouver-based founder and CEO of Baker West Real Estate, which markets luxury high-rise condominiums nationwide, the Times reported. And I honestly believe that there will be ways that landlords will be able to work around this, okay? That people will still be able to buy property. So just giving you an example, and I think that you could probably do something similar in Canada, right? But here in the United States, let's say that you have to wait 2 years, before you're finally able to buy something. So you might get a master lease on the property, right, with an option to buy after that 2-year period is over. So, saying, okay, I'm going to get a master lease on this property from the owner, right, with option to buy at the current price, and then 2 years from now they sell it to me at the price that I agreed to pay. So yeah, I mean, you're not going to be able to stop landlords from doing deals and certain things like that, because we know how to work around a lot of laws that they try to put in place to stop us from doing the things that we do, like I think they call it, I can't remember what they call it up in Canada, right? But they have, like owner financing type deals. Is it called seller carryback? I can't remember, but simply put, there might be ways to use owner financing to still sell a property to somebody, who lives in a different country without hitting all the flags or the government being able to stop it. So yeah, this is, it sounds good on paper. It sounds like a great platform that they're pushing, but it's not going to stop people from speculating. It's not going to stop real estate prices from going up, and even if they do stop foreigners from coming in, guess who's going to pick up the slack? People from the country, the real estate investors who already live in Canada, who are already citizens or residents, they're going to pick up the slack, and they're going to buy up those properties that the people in the foreign countries weren't buying. They might even pick them up for cheaper, and they're still going to, not be available. So this isn't going to stop anything. This isn't going to change anything. It seems like it's a feel-good measure that's going to punish the people who they aren't even real estate investors. They're just trying to have a vacation home or something in Canada. And I like imagine, and here's a good example right here, right? I know that there are some people who buy like little hunting cabins or something up in places, and you couldn't buy a hunting cabin, you couldn't buy a little plot of land, and the fact that they're passing this throughout the entire country is a little questionable too, because there's a huge difference between markets. Yeah, there's housing shortages in the very, very major cities, right? But if you go far enough out, you're going to find some places that are much less desirable, that don't have the same issues and high cost of housing as a place like Toronto or Vancouver. Okay, so yeah, it blows my mind that they would even try to do something like this. So I don't know if in 2 years they're going to say, hey, we're going to extend this even further, or if it's going to end right then. Because simply put, in a major country with a stable economy, you're always going to have foreign investment like this. I mean, it's part of the process. And I don't think that foreigners are the best, don't use foreigners as a scapegoat. So one of the things they don't mention is that I believe that Americans, people from the U.S. are actually the number one group to buy property in Canada. Okay, I mean, obviously, we're right next to Canada, so there's going to be a lot of people in the U.S. who want to buy property up in Canada. I think we actually buy more property than, like, the Asian people from Asian countries. So, yeah, I think we're the number one. I'll have to look that up. So don't quote me on that. But so this really will affect people in America who want to own property there. But I could see something like this eventually, maybe states trying to pass something like this. But who knows? Who knows? Okay. When I look at Canada, I see a place that, they're always trying to push the limits of progressivism. And, I'm not for it. Okay.